Welcome back, Truth Seeker. Another season of rigged football is underway, and that is what we are going to discuss in this stream. Of course, the big story of really the first week of college football is Deion Sanders, who went from the historically black college Jackson State to Colorado, how they shocked and upset the TCU Horned Frogs in a major upset in Deion's debut with his son as the quarterback, Shedeur. We're going to look at this game, what's so interesting about it, and we're also going to look at some of the other standout games this week. And again, the name of the game is recognizing the numbers, recognizing the patterns. Yesterday, right as Deion Sanders won the game, it stood out to me that they were reporting how the Colorado Buffalo have 87 newcomers, and the score of the game, Colorado versus TCU, was 45-42, so 87 total points. And, of course, this game was in Texas. Deion Sanders used to play in the NFL for the Dallas Cowboys. And, Gematria, that simple practice going numbers into words. When you run the alphabetic order in reverse, Cowboys equals 87. We've seen some rituals with that number in the Cowboys over the years. And as we're showing year after year, college football rigged, NFL football rigged. Oftentimes there's rituals going between the college sports leagues and the pro sports leagues. So this is something I'd pay attention to all year. What's going on with the Cowboys and what's going on with Deion Sanders. And in fact, pay attention to all of Deion Sanders' former NFL teams. He was a bit of a journeyman. He played for a number of franchises in the NFL: Atlanta, San Francisco, Baltimore, Cowboys, of course. And the way to double check all the teams he played for is the website Football Reference. There's one for college as well, but Football Reference is for pros. Deion Sanders, just a real quick pull up his entire NFL history: Atlanta to San Francisco, to Dallas, to Washington, brief stint with Washington, and then retirement, and then back out of retirement and with Baltimore. And we've been talking a lot about Baltimore this year. But if you'll recall, when Deion Sanders left the historically black college, he left Jackson State. And there was a lot of Jackson stuff that happened last year. Ketanji Brown Jackson became the first black female Supreme Court justice. On Michael Jackson's birthday, they tried to schedule another moon mission, but it got canceled. Jackson, Mississippi flooded, and Jackson State, of course, is in Jackson, Mississippi. But again, Gematria, if you're new here, before we even get into this, just to make sure you're familiar with the system, I just want to write out the phrase African American real quick. You see how it's 116 when you take the alphabetic order? That's just A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, up to Z is 26. If you run the alphabetic order in reverse, African Americans 289, so just Z is 1 back to A is 26. If you take the alphabetic order with numerology, just compressing each letter to a single digit number using the alphabetic order, so like Z, the 26th letter, becomes 2 plus 6 is 8, so Z is 8. Y, the 25th letter, becomes 2 plus 5 is 7. X, the 24th letter, 2 plus 4 is 6, so on. And then the other ciphers, just running the alphabetic order in reverse numerology. But notice when I write out the name Jackson alone, it's 116, right? Just like African American. Again, Ketanji Brown Jackson became the 116th Supreme Court Justice. Deion Sanders left Jackson State in a big 116 ritual. Notice Ketanji Brown Jackson is 71 in the same cipher as African American. Her name's also 298, not far off from African American, which is 289. And when she became Supreme Court Justice, when they put her on the bench, it was 289 days from her birthday. And, in this case, Colorado Buffaloes has that 71 and 289 like African American. So that was the big controversy, that he's leaving this historically black college, a school that could really use the attention of a strong black male athletic role model like Deion Sanders. He's leaving that school for the big money from the bigger college at the Colorado Buffaloes. This is the story we're being told, right? And some people are going, oh man, Deion, he shouldn't have left. And now Deion's saying, see, I went to this stage to prove something. Show that my son can do it in a bigger program. These are the narratives that keep people entrenched, but is this really the way the story's playing out, or is it what I've been saying for all these years? A lot of these guys don't have any choice, and within the world of celebrity and entertainment, a lot of these athletes are born and bred to be. How does Deion Sanders end up in, Colorado, of all places, with his son Shedeur? Notice what day Shedeur is born. He's born February 7th, right? February 7th, that's the 38th day of the year. Like, literally, how many times have I talked about Colorado in 38? It's the 38th state in order of statehood. In Gematria, Colorado equals 38. We've documented about a gazillion sports rituals with 38 in Colorado. This year, LeBron had the mega 38 ritual on the 38th day of the year, beating the 38-point record, dropping 38 in the game at age 38, and on and on and on. And then, sure enough, in the season, the 38th state wins their first finals, the Denver Nuggets. And we talked about all that too. But you see how Colorado is also 83 and 38? Look at the name Shedeur Sanders. He's got the 83 in his name. And remember, the word football is 83 as well. And the other year when the Broncos Stadium caught on fire in Colorado, it caught on fire on March 24th, the 83rd day of the year, which is also Peyton Manning's birthday, who again in his 18th season won the Super Bowl with the Broncos over the Panthers on the 38th day of the year, beating the team Panthers that also lost in Super Bowl 38. And that was the golden anniversary of the Super Bowl, and Gold's 38. And again, it was hosted by San Francisco 49ers, named after the Gold Rush. Anyway, coming back to this, Deion Sanders, former 49er. He gets this big accomplishment in his first game. It's the big story. And the other thing that jumps out is he's 56 years old. Now remember, this is a huge number with black history. It's just like how the first black president was Barack Obama, who won the 56th presidential election. And when they painted Black Lives Matter on the streets of Washington, D.C., they did it on the 5th day of the 6th month, 5-6, and the 1,000 other things we've documented with 56 in black history, and especially Black Lives Matter, which also has the 56 gematria. The phrase Black Power also has the 56. And again, I mean, you look at Deion Sanders' press conference, the way he's talking trash, it's just... And you know what else? I mean, if you watch the game, they won 45-42, right? The 42 goes without saying. Jackie, slavery, N-word, Tuskegee, another number all over black history. But when they took the lead, they were down 38-42, and then he hit his man on the sideline for the big, nearly 50-yard touchdown. But again, the game-winning play came while Colorado was on 38 points, then scoring the touchdown, hitting 44, and then for the extra point, 45. But yeah, these are scripts. And again, you learn the numbers, you see through the rituals, and you see why right away ESPN's blurting out about the 87 newcomers as you have the 87 total point game. I mean, it's smacking you in the face. And then, again, Deion Sanders made a big name for himself down in Texas with the Cowboys. So, Cowboys are yearning to return to those days in the 90s back when they had Deion Sanders. Speaking of which, man, famous Cowboys Super Bowl 30 years ago, 30-year return to Saturn, and you'd never believe who the Cowboys are playing during Saturnalia. Again, you got to follow these things to see how they got the script set up. And if you're new here, hey, join us on Patreon. We'll be live streaming every Monday, Thursday, and Saturday for all of the NFL season. We'll also do additional streams, but at least those 3 days a week, Monday night, Thursday night football, and cover all the Sunday games on Saturday. So, again, if you want to learn more about this information, join us. We're going to finish the year with baseball. Before you know, it'll be basketball, but we'll be doing all the NFL. I'll be selecting some games to do in college as we finish the baseball season, but it gets overwhelming trying to keep up with everything at this time of year. But yeah, this knowledge. You learn this knowledge, you start to see through what's going on. In this opening week, 4 teams won with 56 points, and 56 is not an arbitrary number. USC was the first team to win with 56, and remember, USC signed Bronny James on May 6th, the day that his dad was having that huge ritual with the Lakers versus Steph Curry, becoming 5-6 versus Steph Curry at home in the playoffs, as King Charles got coronated on 5-6, and the last king of England died at age 56. Again, if you're backlogged on all this and you don't know about why it matters that D'Angelo Russell won his 56th game with the Lakers on 5-6, the day of all those rituals, and why at the Kentucky Derby and post 5 and 6 were the Todd Pletcher favorite horses, with one of them being King's Barnes, the day of King Charles' coronation, and King James and the big win over Steph Curry in the playoffs. Again, you got to learn these things, because by learning them, there's so many benefits. For one, you're not emotionally invested in these rigged games. For two, you can profit off them. And for three, you can wake up your friends and family so that they can do the same things as you. It's like people don't want to advance themselves. They don't want to learn what's going on. They just want to stay ignorant. Like there's this level of fun in the ignorance. Oh, but I like watching the games. I think if you wake up, you'll realize that you don't like watching the games. There's better things to do with your life than sit around and watch other people play sports. Like, go to the gym yourself. Go join a rec sports league and play yourself. It's better. But anyway, I just want to remind that it wasn't an accident that Bronny James got signed. Whoops, I got the wrong one up here. Hold on, let me pull up the other Bronny James post. I got the one about the cardiac arrest. We'll look at that too. But Bronny James, right here, May 6th. And then they put out this thing valuing at $5.9 million. And it's really sick, you guys. Again, the verses 5 through 9 in the Bible are the most infamous ones about slavery. Ephesians 6, 5 through 9. Slaves 59, like Negro, like Blues, like Rasta, like Black History Month ends on the 59th day of the year. Like Motown came out in 59. But yeah, I just want to remind that USC signed Bronny James in a huge ritual on 5-6. And then in light of their 56-point win. And also his cardiac arrest on July 24th, 2023. This was the 205th day of the year, and it was 79 days after the May 6th signing. Look at his father's full name, LeBron Raymond James, 79-205. On the 205th day of the year, 79 days after signing, that happened. So we were told, which creates a storyline for people to follow throughout the year and just brings more attention to him at USC. But notice also, Society of Jesus. Again, this is the Jesuits who run the whole show. They gave us the language, the calendar, as we know it. It's why all of these systems are synced up. It's why year after year things are this way. You look into the Jesuits, you'll start to understand. They pretty much gave us religion as we understand it here in America, the whole Jesus thing. They serve the Catholic Church. They are the Catholic Church pretty much. But they gave us the language, the calendar, the religion. The school system we're on was invented by the Jesuit order. And notice how Jesuit order has that 5472. Look at the word school. The Society of Jesus and Jesuit order are the same thing. School 72, University 54. This stuff's not an accident. Just like how the first Jesuit university was established by John Carroll, 54, Georgetown when he was 54 years old. And again, they're a sun-worshipping cult, and sun's 54. But anyway, Bronny James went to USC on 5-6. Well, we'll talk about the USC Heisman winner as well. But again, just want you to understand this number is important. Deion Sanders is 56. Again, Obama, when he became the president, he won that 56th election. Big time number here, 56. So we'll get to the 4 teams who won with 56. That's something to pay attention to all season, because there are patterns all season, and if you follow them, you can start to really get ahead of the curve. As weeks go on, you're like, oh, I've seen this before. Okay, these teams are moving together this year. But since we're talking about USC, I just want to remind that their quarterback won the Heisman last year. And around that same time, USC's 1979, there's that 79 again, Society of Jesus, 56-79. Their 79 Heisman winner died, and he has the same initials, Charles White, CW, Caleb Williams, CW, and he died 43 years after winning the Heisman. Big time number, because USC has the 43 like RIP, but so does football, killing, Masonic. The word Yale also equals 43. Walter Camp, who was a Freemason who went to Yale, member of Skull and Bones, he's credited with the discovery of American football, or the invention. Walter Camp, if you don't know that name. But this USC man dies 43 years after winning the Heisman. And Notice that Caleb Williams, who just won the Heisman, his birthday is November 18th. That's the day leaving 43 days left in the year. So, and again, we see this stuff happen all the time. Drafts, championships, award ceremonies, just really obvious death rituals if you're simply paying attention. And again, people need to be aware of this. This is what people are pouring into these stadiums to watch: rigged games that are involved with ritual sacrifice. And again, I was just out at the All-Star game for Seattle this past summer, July 11th. And, some people mentioned that, like, even if that is going on, they just don't care because it's not them. They just want to watch and enjoy the game. And to me, that attitude is just so unbelievable. It's like, okay. All right, you like the circus so much you don't care if they're killing people behind the scenes. Okay. To me, that's just crazy. But I guess that's where we are at this day and age. Just people with really poor morals and values. And again, if you watch that stream when I was at the All-Star game, a Christian guy at the end of it was talking for a long time about how all he needs to do is believe in Jesus, and he can go to the game and enjoy the game all he wants, even if they are killing people. All he needs to do is believe in Jesus. I just thought, wow. Oh, man, these Jesuits really got people. Man, they've made us dumb. What a belief system. But, and that's not a false statement that these Jesuits have made us dumb. You look around society and think it's inept, well, there's a reason why. And it's because of the people controlling the show who put us in 13 years of slave school, just eating up and wasting our time. Once upon a time, you probably would have been raised by your father, your uncle, your family members, your village. Probably would have learned how to do all sorts of things outside, from build to hunt to take care of all sorts of crap. Learn about all the natural terrain and plants around you. You would have had this kind of knowledge in your life. You would have been ready to live in the environment you actually live in, but not in this world. In this world, you go to school and you learn about all this BS in a book and a man who discovered a land where people already lived, and then you're just useful enough to work a cash register and get a stipend from Walmart where you can buy all your crap back at their store, and sadly, that's how it is for the majority of Americans. Of course, you can't do better than that, but still, even the people who've done better, they've still had their time stolen from them. You want to be a doctor? You probably could have been on that path by the time you were 8 years old if you knew that's what you wanted to do, instead of sit there until you're 18 learning about Christopher Columbus and the sinking of the Titanic over and over, which are nothing but lies. Anyway, just wanted to go back to this. You can always revisit these posts on GematriaEffect.news. There is even more information here, but yeah, USC, big storyline, Heisman, former Heisman winner, high expectations, ranked in the top 10, and come out with that, boom, 56-point win. Notre Dame, the Catholic school, smoked Navy 42-3. 42 is a military number as they smoked the Navy. And then again, the big Thursday game, Utah, Florida. Utes equals 11 in Gematria. And I seriously can't think of another team or nickname that equals 11. And that's a really rare score in football, 11. But we're always talking about 35 Thursday, right? 24-11 is 35 points. Another 35-point game on a Thursday. And notice how the word I is 35, like the football's the shape of an eye. And Genesis 3:5 is about the eyes of God. And again, the word Catholic is 35. The word Jesuitism is 35. The word Holy See is 35. 12/25, the day the Catholic Church celebrates the sun in the sky's birthday and Jesus' birthday. If you didn't realize that, the Catholic Church celebrates both birthdays on 12/25. The sun in the sky and the Son of God, Jesus. Just think about it. But 12/25, the square root of 12/25 is 35. Big time number. It's why the first Super Bowl was won with 35 points. Again, all roads lead to Rome. And again, Thursday's just that day of the week. It's 35 and 46 like Catholic and like I for the record. And sometimes when there's not a 35 there, it ends up being 46 on Thursday. But yeah, true to form. Right where we left off last football year. We're right back to Thursday. It's right back to 35. And it's another highly symbolic score. Georgia put up 48, which is the number with the big city in Georgia, Atlanta. It's not where the game was, but here's what I'll tell you about Georgia. For the third year in a row, Georgia's 8th game will be against Florida, and we'll see if they've done the same thing that they did the last 2 years. This was helpful to know in one game last year, and I'll get to why that was. But you see how Florida Gators in Gematria is 80. You see how Gators is 80, and you see how Georgia Bulldogs is 80. So the last 2 years, I'd done more. Oh, man, Georgia, I forgot that Georgia Bulldogs is 154 because it is the 154th college football season, you guys. It is. So you're going to want to look into Kirby Smart and just all the history that could be achieved this year. But pay attention if the Georgia Bulldogs start 8-0 again this year against the Florida Gators. Last year there was a game maybe halfway to the 8-0 mark that they did hit. They've done it the last 2 years starting against Florida. But last year there was a game where they were just getting beat down in the first half by some lowly loser opponent. So then you actually got really good odds on them on the comeback because they were getting smoked in the first half. And we weren't sweating it too much, but people were like, man, Zach, I'm expecting Georgia to not lose. And I said, just chill out, you guys. I mean, the whole second half can be a different game, and it was. Georgia blew them out. But that's the nice thing about being aware about this. You know, Georgia might find itself in the same situation in like game 5, and you're like, some good money on a halftime comeback. So, again, none of this stuff's a guarantee, but you follow the consistent pattern, just like how for the third year in a row, they have a chance to become 8-0 against the Super 80 team. And there's more I could say about it, but don't forget either, it's the 154th college football season. Okay, Michigan beat East Carolina 30-3. For the record, I did baseball this weekend. I did not decode any college football games, and I kind of regret that. I wish I would have at least looked more at the Colorado game with Deion Sanders, because that would have been a nice payout. And there are plenty of reasons to think that could happen, paying tribute to the Cowboys' history as they did it. But anyway, Ohio State, Indiana. I saw on the ESPN scroll yesterday that Ohio State beat Indiana for the 29th consecutive time. And what was the day of the game? It was the second day of the 9-month. 2-9, like 29. And if you're new here, this will be news to you, but football in the alphabetic order of numerology is 29, just like Ohio is. And that's the birthplace of football. So Ohio State opening the season on 2-9 with the opponent that they could beat for the 29th straight time. And that's what you start to realize, you guys. I mean, from doing this for a decade, we've been sure about it for a long time. If you're not sure about this, then put in the work and look at it. You literally have me here teaching you how to do this. I had to figure out all of this from scratch. Nobody in the world taught me how to do this. I found in a book from 1926 that there was a code of letters and numbers in the alphabet, and I just started to look into it. He didn't say anything about sports being rigged. Nothing. I just took the knowledge and applied it. I've been teaching it to you guys for years, so now it's way easier. But again, the only way this stuff can line up week after week is if it's scheduled this way on purpose, which means it's a script, and it is. So outside of the base ciphers, there's something called Jewish Gematria. Alabama has that 56 connection in that cipher. And there's been some 56 stuff with Alabama in history. There's only 27 Jesuit universities in the whole nation, and one of them is in Mobile, which is not where the University of Alabama is, but it is a state that has a Jesuit university. And for the record, Mobile is also 56, just like Society of Jesus. And again, who do they serve? The Pope, which is another 56 word. Again, special number here. Special number 56. It's way bigger than college football. So this is what you want to do. You want to make mental notes. Okay, week 1, USC won with 56. Deion Sanders shocked at age 56. Alabama won with 56. Again, lots of blowouts in the early part of the college football season because you got these Division I schools against these smaller schools. Boise State's not what they used to be. Washington won with 56. Keep an eye on Washington, one of the teams leaving the Pac-12, which is, money is just crazy, right? Money just makes people do the dumbest things. Why do they have to break up the Pac-12? It's the West Coast region. Now some of them are in the East Coast and over here, it's like, what? Are they getting ready to burn up the West Coast and relocate all these universities? I'm like, do I need to move? Anyway, Washington, one of the 56 teams. Texas puts a beat down on Rice, 37-10. And let me check something with Rice again. I'm rusty on my decodes. Yeah, they're not 37. But again, I got to get into mid-season form because I haven't been decoding college football. There's so many gematria values to keep straight with so many of these schools. But, hold on. The Notre Dame game was actually last week because there were some teams that played last week, but really this week's considered the opening week when all the big schools are playing. Notre Dame was actually one of the schools that won with 56 this well as week. The Catholic school Notre Dame. Oregon. I laugh so much at the Oregon score because every year I'm talking about Oregon in 74. Out of the 50 states Here, if you're new here, you got to know this. Out of the 50 states, only one equals 74. It's Oregon, right? And yesterday, Oregon played Portland State, which is in Oregon, and they beat them by 74. And again, you run the alphabetic order in reverse. Oregon's 88. The score was 81-7, so 88 points were scored in the all-Oregon game, with Oregon Ducks winning by 74. But the thing, if you're new here, again, what first showed me that gematria was a real thing was just realizing that English equals 74, gematria 74, occult 74, Masonic 74, holiday 74. You think about this nation, English-speaking nation with the 7-4 birthday, Christian nation predominantly, Jesus 74, like cross, like Messiah, like gospel, like parables. Again, huge list, 74. And just a number that's all over history. 3 of the first 5 presidents dead on 7-4. But yeah, I think part of the reason that the only state that has 74 gematria in this cipher is Oregon. Out of the 50 states, the only state that equals 74 using the most simple cipher, the alphabetic order, is Oregon, which is the 33rd state in order of statehood. And again, there's the whole Jesus thing. Jesus on the cross at 33, the Masonic connections with 74 and 33, the federal connections. These numbers get paired together a lot, and they do in the sports games too. You know, when those numbers come together in sports, you'll see like a game where like a team can get their 74th win for the year, and the pitcher can get his 33rd career win, or a team can get their 74th all-time win against a franchise, and a quarterback can pick up his 33rd career win. When those numbers align in games, they very rarely miss. I mean, those are like gems that you learn to when you identify them, you say, oh, there it is. And again, it's part of the reason that Oregon is the only 74 state and the 33rd state. It's like the numbers are a language, and just like how you put certain words together when you speak often, certain numbers come together in this numerical language that these Jesuits who are responsible for this system have created. Now again, Colorado TCU, they had to tell you, 87 newcomers to the team, 87-point comeback, or 87 combined points, and again, doing it in Texas, where Deion used to play for the Cowboys, when Cowboys in gematria is 87. Colorado's next real tough opponent is Oregon, and that game is on a very interesting day. So that'll probably be one I decode in a few weeks. We'll hope there's a beautiful alignment and a nice payout. God, University of Oklahoma, I wonder what's going on at the University of Oklahoma. If you have never been to this campus, maybe make it something to do on your bucket list just to see how big and sprawling this college is. It felt like it was never going to end. We got lost there. There was a group of us. I mean, we couldn't find our car. It was so big when we were coming back. We're like, we couldn't have possibly walked this far. But it makes me wonder, it's like, why does the campus need to be this big? I mean, there can't possibly be this many students that go to this school. It makes me wonder what's going on at some of these universities, and then realize I was like, God, I guess they pay for all of this facility because of how big their football program is and what's going on in some of these buildings. So that's a place to look into, University of Oklahoma. That campus is way, way, way too big. It's like every college campus I've ever been to with their campuses combined, and it's still not as big as University of Oklahoma. I went to Arizona State. The Arizona State campus is about as big as the courtyard where just the football stadium is. The North Carolina game, something that's really interesting. We're watching out for Michael Jordan. Let me pull up a college football reference here. Shout out to a certain gentleman. He messaged me this yesterday. Let's see. So North Carolina, in beating South Carolina yesterday, picked up its 678th career win, or franchise win. And that is a really interesting number. Again, if you're a veteran of the community, I'm just going to type in the name Michael Jordan. And you see how Michael Jordan's 113, and you see how Kobe Bryant's 113. Both of their names are also the same in Sumerian gematria, which is just multiplying the alphabetic order times 6. So 113 times 6 becomes 678. So, of course, MJ went to North Carolina. Kobe was drafted by the Carolina franchise that now Jordan oversees. But Jordan played his last game in Philadelphia, Kobe's hometown. And then exactly 678 months later, Kobe finished his career playing his last game. Exactly 678 months. Hold on. Wait, not 678 months. 678 weeks. Yeah, months would be way too long. It'd be like 57. 678 weeks. Exactly 678 weeks after Jordan played his last game, Kobe played his last game. And the day that Kobe played his last game, the Golden State Warriors, who drafted Kobe's father into the NBA, Joe Jellybean Bryant, that day, the Warriors eclipsed Michael Jordan's win record of 72, winning their 73rd game of the year. Like Steph Curry's born on the 73rd day of the year, and Carolina equals 73. And in Jordan's 73rd game of his record-setting season where they won 72 games, before Curry, way before Curry was in the league, that year, Jordan's 73rd game was against Del Curry on the Carolinas. You see? Because it's all scripted. All this is planned out. When you're watching pro sports, when you're watching college sports, the athleticism's real, but the outcomes, they're contrived. They're planned. They're predetermined. A lot of these players are born and bred to be, and that's why their fathers are in the league, or supposedly like LeBron doesn't know who his father is when his father's probably Nate Thurman, like I've said a million times. Like how LeBron dropped 27 in Game 7 on the real King James's birthday, winning the Cavs their first finals, only for Nate Thurman to drop dead 27 days later at age 74. Like how Jordan's father was found dead on the side of Interstate 74, and like how Moses Malone was killed right before Kobe's last season. Kobe dies in the 74th NBA season. Moses Malone drafted in 74 by Utah, who Kobe finished his career against. The high school players. But, so anyway, North Carolina picked up their 678th win. Remember, Jordan was in Italy in a big Jesuit ritual this offseason, and he's 60 years old right now, and he was 6-0 in finals, and Moses Malone died at age 60, and then Kobe dropped 60 in the last game, and Daryl Dawkins dropped dead right next to Moses Malone, and they're the first two players out of high school. Like Kobe was also out of high school, the fourth in the NBA out of high school. But all of their deaths are 4 and 60 for Moses Malone, Daryl Dawkins, Kobe Bryant. And now it's 4 seasons later with Jordan. This upcoming NBA season will be 4 seasons later. And again, it's biblical too, because in Exodus 4, Exodus equals 74, but Exodus 4, Moses gets his staff turned into a snake, and also in Exodus, Moses sees the promised land from Jordan. So anyway, we've been talking about that, and now I'm seeing just the football team get this symbolic win with that number that we know has a lot to do with Jordan and Kobe, and again, the Warriors, Steph Curry and Klay Thompson combining for 678 three-pointers. If I didn't say so, when they set the win record, Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, the same day that Kobe played his last game, they set an NBA record combining for 678 three-pointers in a season. That's how scripted it is. And don't forget the year before Curry came in the league, all year they were running that ad with Baron Davis of the Warriors, with David Blaine the magician saying the NBA, it's either magic or it's magnets. Okay, don't forget the Warriors are a big team in NBA history because they're from Philadelphia and they won the first ever championship. But okay, yeah, North Carolina, very, very interesting symbolic win. And did you just see what they did with the Jordan USA basketball game? Hold on, I want to show you this too because it's all related. So the U.S. beat Jordan 110-62, right? Now, the name Jordan alone is 62. Like Obama's 62 right now, who's also connected to Chicago like Jordan. But 110-62, and this game was August 30th. So there were 172 points scored, right? Michael Jordan, date of birth. Look at this. Michael Jordan's born 17/2. 172, 172 points. The Jesuit motto, Ad Merum Dei Gloriam. 172 for the greater glory of God, okay? Numbers that we talk about all the time. And you know what? Jordan's birthday is the 48th day of the year. There was also 48 points scored in that football game last night. 31, wasn't that 31-17, 48? Yeah. But check this out. From Jordan's birthday, here, let me go back. The game was August 30th. From Jordan's birthday to the game, oh, sorry, I'm tripping. It's the other way. If you count the full span of days, from the game to Jordan's upcoming birthday, interestingly enough, is a span of 172 days. So, think that's an accident? 110.62. I don't think that's an accident. I've been showing for years how this stuff's all scripted together. From the Oval Office to the rigged basketball game, baseball game, football game. It's all connected. I don't know what's wrong with everybody else. Remember when Aaron Hernandez was murdered in his jail cell the day the Patriots were at the White House and TMZ broke the headline that Illuminati was written on blood in the wall? Okay, Ole Miss smoked Mercer. That's the Georgia school, Mercer. Texas A&M crushed New Mexico. Tulane green wave over South Alabama. Iowa. Iowa likes 24 a lot. But the number that Iowa loves, Iowa feasts on the number 21, and again, you pay. That's also why they have this system with different numerical values for words, because then that way you'll pay attention over the course of a season. You'll see how many different ways they sync up these numbers and rituals, and you'll see games this year if you're paying attention. Coach can get his 21st loss versus Iowa. It'll be like 21 date numerology, and Iowa can get their 21st all-time win versus this team, or 21st win in that stadium. Year after year, just same stuff, clockwork. And, Utah State losing with 14, that's not an accident either. Utah's 14. All these numbers play in Utah. 14 historically and 50 are very good numbers in Utah. But yeah, again, this knowledge, college, pro, see through the games, turn on the news channels, see through the scripted news, latest election crap, see through it, latest Trump court date, see through the big joke that is. Again, you guys, it's a joke. It's a joke, this world we're living in. The Jesuits have made this world a joke. They treat us like we're a joke. They treat us like we're dumb. It's like they know they raised us to be dumb and ignorant and worshipful of authority, so they know they can just get away with it. And they made it part of our culture to love sport and to celebrate sport and spend big money on sport and entertainment. All of these things have been trained and bred into us. It's hard for people to look at ourselves as animals, but we really are. And just the same way you can train an animal, a human being can be trained, and that's why you see Americans just like a trained herd. Listen to Colin Cowherd, Colin Cowherd will be on there saying, oh, don't listen to these online conspiracy guys. Sorry, Colin Cowherd. Every week I do college picks. They're always way better than yours, so maybe people should start listening. Maybe you should stop saying, maybe that's just it. He doesn't want people to listen to his competition. But listen to his name, too, Cowherd. You're turning into Colin Cowherd. It sounds like herd, and it sounds like coward. And, again, here's the way I look at it. Maui just got the latest blowtorch winds. Another horrible, awful disaster. Obvious example of weather warfare, the thing that JFK spoke about back in 1961, and people still don't know about it. We admitted it after Vietnam. The Royal Air Force admitted it a long time ago about what happened in 1952. Anyway, it's like something really horrible just happened in Hawaii, and the news just brushed it under the rug, and now football season here, so it's going to be even further under the rug. But while we're so into entertainment and games, it's like the psychopath Jesuits who are ruling over us and who know to distract us with the Colosseum, they're literally getting away with like the most evil crimes in the history of the world. Murdering people, taking their land, false flags blamed on boogeymans and caves, needless pandemics, overstated fear. Well, guys like Anthony Fauci telling us what to do when Anthony Fauci's this Jesuit clown in D.C. who uses taxpayer... Look at all the things Anthony Fauci used taxpayer money on to experiment with. To think that they might cook up a little bit heftier version of, the flu isn't out there. This is a guy who was creating genetically modified bugs and putting animals in cages with genetically modified bugs to see what would happen when the bugs would attack. What's the point of even researching this? Why should a single taxpayer dollar be spent on something like that? You send in your money, the federal government says, how much of your money can we use to create the genetically modified biting flies to put in the dog cages to see what happens to the dogs? How much do you want to spend on that? Again, you guys, the reason nobody even knows about anything like this is because all their life's about is entertainment and consumerism and just paying attention to nothing that they should be paying attention to. And remember, the consequence of that is your town might be the next town to get blowtorch wins, You might be the next town where then the news is just brushing right over it. You look like you got hit by a volcano from Pompeii, but the news media is just skipping on right on over it because Trump's in court and there's an election upcoming. And whoa, did you see the highlights last night in the game? So anyway, learn this knowledge. You won't look at the game the same way anymore. You won't look at any of this stuff the same way anymore. You'll see the matrix for what it is. It's like a matrix that's built around us of entertainment and misinformation and agendas and politics. And this thing needs to be broken, you know? It needs to be broken in the worst way. So, yeah, circle those teams that scored 56 this week and keep tabs. Do they move in a pattern week after week? Is there a larger narrative here? For people who really know their college football, they might recognize something in this pattern that I don't see yet. You know, I only know as much as I know. And college football, I mean, we've done a lot of great work with college football, but it's never like, even before I was aware of this, I never really enjoyed watching college football. I was always kind of the guy who stayed more active when I was younger and played sports myself and rec leagues. And anyway, college football is just something I've never watched much of at any point in my life. So, but we have been decoding it for a while, so we do know the numbers and the familiar patterns. Dabu Sweeney. Remember the other year when his running back Tyshawn Dye died? He was found drowned. And it was synced perfectly with the championship date in New Orleans, where Clemson lost to Joe Burrow and LSU. Joe Burrow transferred to LSU the exact same day that Billy Cannon died. Billy Cannon was the only LSU player to have won the Heisman and also beat Clemson in the championship in New Orleans. And then Joe Burrow goes on and recreates his history. He beats Clemson in the championship. He wins the Heisman. Then he goes to the NFL and he takes the Bengals to the Super Bowl. And in the year they go to the Super Bowl, they play 4 teams in the playoffs. They play the old Oilers franchise, which is the Titans. They play the Raiders. They play the Chiefs. And they play the Rams. And funny enough, those are the 4 teams that Billy Cannon was a member of in his NFL career as well. So again, that's what I mean from following the patterns, college to pro. Hey, Billy Cannon, the day that Billy Cannon died, May 20th, that's the day in history that the founder of the Jesuits, Ignatius Loyola, was shot with a cannonball. And just recently, you had one of Trump's court dates get set by the judge Eileen Cannon for the upcoming May 20th, 2024. So see, it's the same joke. It's used in college football. Now it's used in the election with the supposed legal, issues. All of this stuff is a big joke. It's a running show to occupy the minds of Americans. And the reason they need to occupy our minds and keep us constantly distracted with something new is because, remember, we were all taught that we were born in this nation where we're free and you have the right to the pursuit of life, liberty, and happiness. And really, how many people are feeling that free? How many people in America at this age are feeling that happy? I mean, last time I looked at statistics, almost everybody's on some kind of pharmaceutical drug for anti-depression or anti-anxiety or some other health ailment or mental problem. And anyway, it's not a good look in America, and the nation's just falling apart more and more, and you don't really see anybody in the populace really lifting a finger to do anything about it. They're just kind of all watching together as the ship sinks, hoping they can experience another football season and get out to the game because it's what they live for. How did a society of people grow to live to watch other people play a sport? Do you think like we went to a society of Vikings from a long time ago and just showed them the football game if they would just like make that what their whole life's about? Because I mean, you go to a town like Seattle, Washington. That's pretty much what everybody's life's about. They're all still in their Russell Wilson jerseys, hoping he's going to come back and play good and moping around when the Seahawks lose. And it's like this all over America. I'm just talking about Seattle because I'm up in this region. So anyway. They just put it in your face with the numbers every week. And that's how I figured out Gematria. Because I knew there was something up with numbers. I like, come on, man. 87 points and they're telling you there's 87 newcomers? Let me look into what that 87's about. Must mean something. And again, it took me over 10 years to answer that question. There was one spot in time when I just had no idea there was this thing called Gematria. But you learn it and you see. So, yeah, anyway, on Patreon, as baseball winds down, we'll start doing college football like we do. We'll get into all of it, but going to be a slower start. And until then, I'll try and pick out a few games each week that look lucrative. See if we can spot an upset. But we won't get full on the college football. But yes, this week we're going full time on NFL, full time on baseball, and yeah, it's just it's a tough time of year to keep up because there's so much. Plus, there's always everything else to do besides sports. Keep up with the news, write books, do presentations. So, and again, the thing is, you guys, it's just like when we went to LSU. We went to LSU after Joe Burrow won the championship, and we were on campus engaging with the students and even some of the players from the team. Some of the players on the team interacted with us and stopped and listened and talked for a while, and we're really grateful. And some players on the team, they just walked right by with their, brand new headphones they'd gotten probably for the championship, and they just didn't have any time of day. And that's just the way different people are. But really, more people need to take time out of their day to learn what's going on in this world, so they don't find themselves just marching in line with the tyranny. And, I mean, really, nobody should be going to these games. If we get down to the bottom of what's going on and talk about how serious it is, all the ritual sacrifice we document over the years, all the rigging, nobody should be attending this. And all these people right now who think it's fine for them to go because they're not doing any killing and they just want to enjoy the game. Again, that's why the conversations need to start happening. Maybe they start hear more people talk about it and how messed up it is. Maybe they'll maybe a light bulb will go off that, oh yeah, maybe it is wrong to support this. I guess my money is paying for the operations this is all a part of. So anyway, we'll keep it short and sweet. We'll leave it there. We'll live stream tomorrow on Patreon. Start looking at NFL Week 1 and other things going on in sports. I'm watching to see if something happens in baseball today that's just very interesting. Man, Charlie Morton's having some interesting games this year. But yeah, we'll stream. We'll get in the habit right now of streaming Monday, Thursday, Saturday is the minimal amount of streams for each week. And there's no time limit on those streams. Tomorrow's stream will begin at 3 Pacific, 6 Eastern. And it'll be that time on Thursday. On the weekends, it'll be a little bit different. But yeah, if you want to join the streaming tier, you can join on Patreon or you can join on freetofindtruth.com in the sports group. The $11 tier will get you all of the video content and written content. The $5 tier will get you all of the written content. So you can still get everything pretty much for $5. But if you want to be part of the live streams and the videos, that's going to be $11. It's the first time I ever did a price hike. But to me, even if it's still a bargain rate. I mean, if you look into how much work I put in each month and how much decoding it is, I mean, you're getting a killer deal at both prices. And it's always been that way, and I've known that. But, yeah, it's just things are getting more expensive, and it's a little modest price hike is in line. So we'll leave it there for now. Thank you to everyone who supports the work. Links to support are in the description of every video. Again, $5 tier gets you all written content, $11 all written plus all video. And right now it'll mostly just be sports. I do intend to get back to doing the market stuff. It's just there hasn't been enough hours in a day lately. But that's the plans for now. So again, thank you to everyone who supports. And until next time, Truth Seeker.